Hello and welcome to the Main Contain Action Podcast. This episode is presented by G Fuel, the official drink of esports. G Fuel. Your dad also likes it. Dang it. This is hard. That was harder than I thought. Paul, I apologize for giving you crap last week. That was not easy to make up on the top of my head. So I just piggybacked the dumb thing you said.
Nicely done.
You can use code MCA at checkout for a discount on your next order. MCA at discount. Thank you. I am Trevor May. Also, I'm Trevor May on the internet. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Action Jackson.
Hello. I'd like to point out that, yes, coming up with a tagline on the fly, difficult. And I like to think I rocked it with your mom, and then you fumbled it with your dad.
It was convicted. Yeah, you were much more convicted. Like, I know what I'm going to say, and this is about to be great. And I was like, so that's where we're at. You went to, did you went on a hike on a wedding last week, right?
I did. I went on a hike and then I immediately went to a wedding. I shouldn't say immediately. It was the next day. 7 miles hike. And
you should see his face, guys. You should see the face he just made when he said that.
7 miles and 1,100 calories burned. That's 1,100 cals active, not total.
According to watch your
according to my Apple Watch, which has never lied to me.
It's true.
So yeah, I'm pretty much kind of like a fitness god. Although I did end up severely injuring my back, and my dog got a tick.
Had to carry you?
No. First time seeing a tick and removing one, by the way.
Ew.
So, yeah.
You severely injured your back. Have you been sitting in that chair all day now, or are you like?
No, sitting here actively hurts. No, I'm in severe pain. But we're gonna get through it. It'll be fine. No big deal.
Kate and I are going on a hike on Thursday.
Yeah.
I was like, yesterday we were on our way to something else. I'm like, hey, where's the hike at? She goes, well, it's 2 hours away. And I went, no. I hit her with a no. And she showed me it's like in the middle of the Cascade Mountains, like in the center of Washington. I'm like, not for the first one. I'm not trying to win the gold medal right out of the gate. Just I want to go walk around a lake the first time, please. I just pitched 70 times.
You're a professional athlete.
I do not want to go on it. She's like, it's 7 miles and straight up. I'm imagining the mountain from the Grinch. And you're just walking straight. Anyway,
it's straight up.
So yeah, the same thing. I'm trying not to catastrophically hurt my back. Anyway, but moving on, we do have a guest, and we were just having this full blown conversation, and she's chomping at the bit. Today's guest is a world class Twitch streamer playing games like Apex Legends, Call of Duty, and recently New World with about the rest of the gaming world. I think pretty much everyone's at least given it a little bit of a shot. She has worked in PR for EA. Can't wait to dive into that one. And marketing for Ubisoft. Doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. And is allergic to just about everything. FemSteph is here.
Hello. Wow, you guys did your homework.
You did. Great job, Emily, on the research. You did great.
Fantastic. Amazing. What an introduction. I feel really
Is it Ubisoft or is it Ubisoft?
I mean, it's one of those tomato things.
Okay.
Nobody really cares.
Okay.
So it's a French company, so they say Ubisoft.
They do say Ubisoft.
Yes. But I think most people say Ubisoft or Ubisoft. I don't know. It is very interchangeable even within the company. So
let's go with Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft.
Now you're really thinking about it.
Now that you slowed it down, it's weirder.
Good of shape.
Ubisoft when you slow it down.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, you're right.
We did heavy research into this. We actually obtained your tax returns from last year.
Wow.
Unincidentally, we
Impressive.
actually know your income for the past 3 years from Twitch. Not sure exactly how we got all that, but there may or may not have been.
Public salaries? No.
Crazy.
People know
It's
that.
actually very eye-opening, though, to see the top homies up there.
Wasn't it wild?
Just
I got to be
where
honest.
the air is crisp, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Who knew
honest.
Critical Role was so freaking nuts?
I thought some of those were higher, actually.
really?
There was a couple that. Well, I was doing math in my head and looking at the number on the screen. I'm like, that's kept up for 6 months. Jesus.
Okay. Caveat though, that's just sub and ad revenue, right? So a lot of those content creators have sponsorship deals that are much more dollary dues, you know?
Yeah. So people, you need to know that too. All that stuff on the side for the big guys, probably paying more than they're making. In
way more.
Totally. Way more. So keep those donos coming.
Before you.
Don't let that deter you.
I'd like to imagine that you looked at the list, Trevor, and you were like, make more than all these guys.
No, I didn't say that out loud.
70 pitches.
70?
Games.
70 times.
70 times.
Yeah, you said catastrophic back pain. You said, welcome, brother.
Okay, well, I'm not paid to be in pain. So,
but it is funny you say that, because what was it? It was after 2019, I was in arbitration. So I just got to renegotiate 1 year of my contract, and it's like on a pay scale too. So there's only like a range you can be in based on what you did last year. But I was getting my biggest raise that I'd had in my career, and it came out publicly. And I remember, I think I had Tim on a side monitor. I wasn't even talking, like no one knew I was there, and someone like gave him the link. And I remember him being like, Jesus Christ. And then he texted me. He's like, dude, congratulations. And then he like put his phone in. He was like, that's a shit ton of money. Like said it like that.
That's a pretty good Tim impression.
And I was thinking, I'm like, and then as he's saying it, I see like he's got 48,000 subs. I'm like,
Must
wonderful,
be nice.
interesting.
Must be nice.
That's interesting. Interesting take there. But I digress. We're here to meet you, to learn about you.
Hello.
But firstly, before we get into questions, we would love to congratulate you on behalf of the entire May Contain Action team, to you and Brennan, on two huge things.
Yes.
The child. Adding to the family and the engagement. That is awesome. Yeah. It's a lot.
We did it backwards.
You did.
We're non-traditionalists, you know.
There's no right way, right?
I'm actually okay. Can I just say that
you absolutely can?
It was a moment of clarity. I don't know why. We just decided to do it backwards. So we live in an area that is exploding right now, and it's really hard to find property or houses, and everything is astronomically priced in comparison to what it was like 5 years ago. I feel like it's pretty common around the US right now. Like everything is just crazy. And so we found a lot that we really fell in love with, because it has a little more land than this area is normally sells. Usually it's like 5,000 square feet lots, right? Which is which is like nothing.
Yeah.
And so we wanted a yard, because we wanted kids, and we have 2 dogs and all of that. And so we found this lot, and it was a little above the price range we were originally looking at, but we have the money. But it was definitely like one or the other, like buy a ring, buy a house, you know? And so we were like, you know what? We're in no rush. We're in a committed relationship. Let's just buy the house. Let's buy the dream home. And 6 months later, COVID happened. So even if we had gotten engaged, like my brother had to push his wedding back 2 years, basically, because of COVID. So I'm glad that we chose the house first. Now we have this beautiful house. So I had some cervical issues 2 years ago that was making pregnancy kind of iffy. We were like, not iffy, but it was a concern. It was starting to be like a question mark. And so once I got through all of that stuff and had a clean bill of health, we were really excited to start a family. And so we were like, let's not put it off, count our blessings. Yay. A month after I got pregnant, COVID happened. So... yeah, that was fun. Went through pregnancy on lockdown, like complete lockdown, basically. And that was super tough. My parents didn't even get to see me pregnant until basically I was having my kid. So,
jeez.
Yeah, it was really hard. But then we had our son. He's amazing. He's 10 months old right now. So funny and happy and healthy. Great kid. And then we got engaged on our 6-year anniversary. So
that sounds like a great path, because it was your path.
Yeah, thank you. It was our path. Yeah.
And I can imagine that house would have been maybe not necessarily out of a price range, but would have been severely more painful.
Absolutely. 100%.
A couple months after.
Yeah.
You're in the Portland area, and same thing. It's
Yes.
the same thing up here. We
Mhm.
actually bought a house in the middle of the season. Like
Mm.
we're like, we're not even going to get to go there for my wife flew out and was like, yep, like
Yeah.
hit us with one of those, because the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
let's do it right now, because
You find
this-
one that like ticks a couple boxes and you're like, offer.
Yep.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
same thing. Same.
So.
Oh yeah. Even when we bought our house, I was like not making demands, but I remember walking around the house and being like, I don't like those basement windows. They look like they're going to rot. And the guy, because they were like wood lined, and the guy was like, I'll cover them in metal, whatever you want. And I was like, this water heater is pretty old. How about knocking $1,000 off the price? He was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just trying to sell it. And so like, I can't imagine
No.
doing that now.
No.
You want it or you don't.
It's
Like-
literally like, well, if you're not going to put an all cash offer close in 7 days, I have 6 other people waiting down the line that are willing to do that.
Yes.
It's insane. My brother
Yeah.
just bought a house in the actually down south in the Oregon area, like south of Portland, and same thing. There was like 12 offers on his house. He had to go 125,000 above ask. Like it was just, it's insane down here. Yeah,
Jeez.
crazy.
Freaking Portland.
Mhm.
And everyone apparently but me lives in the Portland area on this podcast today. So
Well,
good to know what it's like.
here's the thing: LA packed, San Francisco packed. Seattle packed. So now that all these tech companies have really taken over these big metropolitan areas on the West Coast, Portland's kind of the last city to really be fully hit with the tech bubble. And now that Portland abolished their skyline restrictions, so you could only build above a certain, like you couldn't go past a certain height for
Really?
building. Yeah. Like 4 or 5 years ago, they said, okay, we're going to do away with that. And now all these skyscrapers are going up and all these big companies are coming into Portland. So,
Whoa.
Portland, Oregon, Austin, Texas, and
Yeah.
then like the Charlotte, Charleston, between South Carolina and North Carolina. That's where a lot of big companies are moving to, like, because North Carolina's, I guess, exploding, and especially in like the my sister-in-law is going to college at Wake Forest, and she's like, it's turning into mini like tech bubble, Silicon Valley over here in the South. And it's awesome. But she lives in the Raleigh area, and she's like, it's awesome. So, but yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane how that stuff's happening, and you got to just like
jump on it.
Yeah, you got to just make the decision. Like, there's just no like, should we buy a house? Like, nobody has that can do that right now because
well, interest rates are so low. So then also you have this like whole group of people that weren't necessarily in that range before can afford houses that are a little more expensive because interest rates are like 2.75.
You have you have to lock that. It's like it's expensive now. The down payment's bigger, but interest
but 25 years down the road, let me tell you,
it's gonna add up. That extra 2% is a lot,
huge,
especially
huge.
over years.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
considering refinancing at this point, that's how good it is.
Oh yeah, refinance. Oh yeah. Where's Jen when you need her? She can explain that whole thing. But we will get into that later. For those of you that don't know on the pod, because we actually haven't had Brendan on, he is Gold Glove, and he is also a full-time streamer. So just so that we have full context of the situation, 10-month-old, engagement and wedding planning, both full-time streamers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we would love, and I think this is probably something that you probably have more experience than anyone else we've had in, is how do you guys, like, how important is schedule? How do you guys do that? Like, who is it? Are you staggering who's streaming when? Do you guys are you guys focused mostly on just like events and stuff and not being as regular, or like how are we how?
So it actually, I would say it's probably ease. It's we have the best career paths to be parents because everything's so flexible, right?
Yeah.
A little less flexible with Brendan because he is signed with Twitch, so he does have hours he has to hit. So his stuff is a little more structured than mine. I definitely, I would say, am the one who is the most flexible in the relationship as far as like covering for him if he needs to like do a sponsor thing or blah, blah, blah. But he's also really good at letting me do what I need to do with my hours too. So our day to day is he wakes up with the baby, takes care of him while I stream in the mornings. And then we have we're supposed to have like an hour or two kind of like overlap where we can do family stuff together, but it hasn't really been working out that way. And then, he starts his stream around 2 p.m. and then streams through the night, and I do bedtime and dinner time and all that stuff with him. And it works right now because he's so young. I think eventually when he's a little older, because for us, I would say dinner time is really important. For me, it was a really big thing with my family is everyone sit down at the table and have dinner together. You talk about your day and everything. So I think eventually he'll do a split stream where when Cohen's in daycare, we'll both stream in the mornings while he's at school. And then we'll do like late afternoons and dinner together. And then Brendan might boot up his stream again at night while the baby's asleep. So I think that's going to be the plan eventually. But it works out really good right now.
Yeah.
Brendan's amazing dad, like the best dad ever. It's so attractive to see your partner be such a great parent. So it's just really nice when you have full like confidence in your partner to take care of your child, So I stream, I have a great time. I'm really enjoying New World right now, seeking maybe a little too many hours. That's why I said we don't have a lot of overlap. We're supposed to have an overlap, but I maybe convince him to let me stream for that extra hour so I can chop a couple more trees down,
Oh god, it's the logging.
So I wonder, can we just make the podcast here? You guys want to go play? Like, let's just.
Oh my god.
Oh god, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I got to work today though. God.
Dude, I did my star metal tools yesterday and my tier 4 bags. So it was me sitting there killing a lot of dogs and skinning them for hide, and then doing the hemp run.
They're wolves, guys. Just okay. Don't call Pete wolves. They're evil. They're mean.
What are they called?
Super nice wolves, I think is what they're called.
No, they're not the wolves. They're like the undead dogs. They are dogs.
Oh, they're undead? Oh,
yeah. They're zombie dogs.
Yeah, get rid of those.
Please.
Zombie dogs.
They're undead. Yeah. Guys, they're zombies. They were already killed once, and we didn't even do it. All right? Now we're just putting them out of their misery.
Oh, yeah.
In-game.
In-game.
Always in-game.
Yeah. No, there's something to be said about just sitting down at your computer and chopping trees for like 4 to 7 hours.
So you want to know what I do with my chat is I will actually put a watch party on.
A watch party?
So on Twitch, you can do watch parties with Amazon Video or whatever. Mm-hmm. So your video is still like, I don't know, like little pip in the top corner. So they don't really need to like me be full screen chopping down trees. So I just put my character pretty large on the small screen. I'm chopping down trees and we're watching House together.
I just realized that's the equivalent of like giving your kid an iPad while you're doing something that they're not going to be super interested in that you want to do.
But it's amazing. They love
it.
Their
chat an iPad. That's awesome. We
watch House, talk about House, and then I ask them questions about the game, or they're like, "How many trees you got left?" 16,000. I pulled out a spreadsheet, you guys. I'm not kidding.
God, don't even.
What? A spreadsheet of trees?
So I needed to get engineering to 100, and there's there's an XP breakdown. There's a website that breaks down the XP from each level that you need. So I put it in a spreadsheet and I divided it by the number of bows that I needed to craft, and then I saw how many.
It's bows. I knew it.
It is.
I knew it.
You can do fishing poles too if you want.
And fishing poles. Yeah, because you don't need as much iron for those.
Yep. Mm-hmm. No iron. Zero iron.
No iron. Yeah.
Meta level streaming. That's so
I was sitting there and I was like, I need to chop down 5,600 trees. Let's go, baby. And we did it.
How do you watch House?
Yeah.
In the meantime.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that. I know you could play a game and do a watch party at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as long as it's in the
because it pulls up a different browser window for them. So
in what category are you in?
Well, if you're in watch parties, it automatically puts you in watch parties. But I was already playing, for 3 hours. So the people that were sticking around watching me cut down trees are going to watch me cut down trees.
And they're all playing anyways. You're on the side monitor.
It's true.
For the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy.
And now we
how
all
high
get to chop trees together and watch shows. It's amazing.
That's beautiful.
You're welcome.
That's incredible.
We did. New World shouldn't have been brought up. I think we could talk all day about this.
Sorry.
But not relevant, guys. Probably in 2 weeks, everyone's gonna be like, I mean, Shroud went on a little bit of a tirade last night about the wars being buggy. So Who knows?
my gosh, I haven't even done a war yet. Too busy chopping trees.
Too
Same,
busy.
honestly.
Yeah,
Oh my
we're not
gosh.
there yet.
I'm doing it more
No.
casually because here's the thing: new MMOs like this, there's not a ton of endgame content right now.
Mhm.
So why rush? Like, I don't know. For me, it's like, why rush
True.
it? I'm taking my time. I'm like 40,
Exactly.
right? I'm enjoying the questing. I'm enjoying the
Yeah.
process of it. Like I said, I took 2 days off, like leveling, just to get the things that I want, like the tools and the bags that I wanted and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm definitely kind of hopping around, deciding what to do whenever I just like on a whim instead of really sitting there min-maxing my grind, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
I'm min-maxing my logging. So,
You
My
did.
bow
He
making.
did do it literally
But-
like I'm chopping trees only today, and we're just chatting. And for 5 hours, he just ran in a circle in the same field.
people loved
He's
it.
like, "Oh no, those trees have grown back. We need to fix that." Runs
Yeah.
to the other side and starts chopping them. It's hilarious.
People absolutely loved it. I was trying to make a parking lot. Well, Steph, to kind of change gears a little bit
Mhm.
in the interest of getting to know you more and your origin story. So, where did gaming love sprout for you first? Where did this come about? And like, what were some of your first games that you can remember? And then
Okay.
also, how did you turn all that love, those first games that you played, how did you make that a career?
Okay. Ooh, this is a story. So, I have half brothers, and they lived with me for a couple years when I was really, really young. And they're much older than I am, like 8 and 11 years older than I am. So I
okay.
was a tiny, tiny baby watching them play games. And I have, like, you know, you randomly have those like vivid memories that stick out to you from when you're like 3, and you're like, why do I remember this?
Yeah.
I remember standing up in my like pack and play, like looking over the shoulder of my brother as he played like literally like 2 monitor like Pong type game. Like it was like really old school, right?
What?
And I just for
Monitor?
some reason that sticks out to me. But the first video game system I ever owned was when I was 4 years old. My mom took me to Japan because my cousins are Japanese. And they're a little older than I am, like 5 or 6 years older than I am. So their mom bought them a Game Boy, and my mom was like, "Hey, I'm a cool mom. I'll buy you a Game Boy. You're 4. You need a Game Boy too." And so she got me Kirby and
God bless her.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I think Space Invaders and like one other game.
This
and
is
we came back.
pre-color, right?
Yeah,
the
pre-color, like the original gray
Boy.
Game Boy with
Yeah.
the maroon buttons. Yeah.
What? Oh,
We
that's
came
awesome.
back to the US though, region locked. So I couldn't play any other games on it. Just the 3 that I brought home with me.
That was a thing? They
Yeah.
did that?
So I
didn't know that
had
existed. Wow.
Japanese Kirby for like 3 years, but it was like my favorite game ever. So I've always been into video games. My parents did this thing where they didn't buy me gifts growing up. They would give me like an allowance for money, and then I could buy whatever I wanted, which I thought was actually really cool. I think I want to do it with my kids too. So it wasn't just like, here's something I got you. You better like it. It's like, hey, okay, well here's $100 you can save up, or you can spend it now, get the thing that you really like for your next birthday, Christmas, whatever, or you can whatever. So when I had enough money, the first thing I bought was like a video game system, I guess, was the PS1, like the mini one. Not the
the mini.
PlayStation one, the PS one. So it's like
Yes.
a small little cute one. And I got Spyro, Legend of Spyro, and all those games. And then in high school, when I was a junior, I saved all my money and got a Xbox 360, and I got COD 2, and that was really the game that got me into online multiplayer. Like I was a COD kid, man.
Like
I was
COD 2, like
yes, like
World War
Tunisia with a M1 Garand. Yeah, sniping in the back, dog. That was me.
Ah, it's the best.
I know. Are you?
So
I don't
good.
know. You guys might not be old enough.
Okay.
No, I am. I am. He's. I mean,
But yeah. So then
we're saying
I found out one of my best friends who I played soccer with in like our inner city league team or whatever. She also liked video games, and we played Modern Warfare. Like we were like the girls in the COD lobbies that would shit on kids, and then people would find out we were girls, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, go make me a sandwich," and I'd be like, very offended by it. But yeah, so that was the kind of intro into gaming, and then. Like it was definitely a personal hobby for me. I played a lot of video games. I was the kid that had to get my dorm rooms to open my NAT type so I could actually play online Gears of War in the dorms. Yeah.
Okay.
I was really into
To do
gaming.
that.
And then I dated a guy in college who wasn't into gaming. And so then I kind of lost my love for it. I stopped playing for a couple years because he was like really into like hiking and doing outdoorsy stuff. And, you know, I really wanted, I was in love with my boyfriend. So I was like, oh, you know, I'll put the controller down for the hike. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, my like part-time, full-time job was working at a GameStop. I was a GameStop manager. So I sold video games. Yeah.
Nice.
And then
did you ever feel like this is kind of back to your mom at all? Like, I'm curious about this because she bought you these games. She was like, I'm a cool mom. Do you think she ever regretted that? Like, did you ever?
No, because I wasn't really good. Sadly, I was a very good kid. So it wasn't like I was.
Sadly.
I wasn't. Well, you know, it's not like I like. What's the word? Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like I fucked off and like got bad grades because of video games, right? Like I did everything I needed to do, and then games were like the happy reward for me to. So I never abused them. Unlike Brennan, if you ever have Brennan on this podcast, he will tell you horrible stories about how he just like got Fs in school because he was playing Gears of War nonstop, right? So it wasn't like that for me. So she was never like, stop playing video games. She was like, okay, well, you know, you found a passion. Good for you.
Yeah, you're doing both really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so when I graduated college, I went to school. I got a marketing degree. I actually worked in sports marketing. I wanted to work in action sports. So I wanted to work for like Burton or, you know, Adidas or Nike or something like that. That was really what I was going for because my dad's a shoe designer. So I kind of had that background.
Oh, lit.
Yeah. And I ended up having GameStop on my resume, right? So my dad helped me blast out my resume to his like coworker friends, and one of his coworkers who he used to work at Wilson with, which is a tennis sports company,
and baseball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
He was
Sponsored,
the
clearly.
VP of marketing at EA. Electronic Arts. Yeah.
So
And
that's
he's
a connection to EA.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's all about networking, people. Business is not that hard. Just it's about who you know. And so he was like, "Oh, your daughter knows video games?" And he was like, "Yeah, she's always loved games." And he was like, "Well, we have a great entry level position in our PR department. Would you be interested in interviewing for it?" And I nailed it, so I got the job. Yeah, worked there for 5.5 years. So
5.5 years.
Yeah, dude.
Dang.
I launched big games. Battlefield. I launched Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Bulletstorm.
Did you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you did the social media for those as well, correct?
Towards the end, yeah. In the beginning, it was so at the very beginning, PR and marketing were very separate, right? Like PR worked with endemic journalists.
Okay.
So, you know, GameSpot, Game Informer magazine, you know, Game Rant. I don't even remember all of them anymore. But just anyone who would write in a publication about our games, we would host events so they could do reviews and previews of the games and write articles about it. And that was our job. And then towards the end, social media really kind of melded everything together because all of a sudden these journalists weren't writing full articles in news or like magazines anymore. They were doing online publications, and then that was feeding into social media. So it kind of all blended together. So we got rebranded. Instead of a PR marketing team, we were integrated communications. And that's when I started doing social media stuff. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you took this vast knowledge of PR and getting into this industry, and you're like, screw that, I'm going to stream. Like,
no. So when we became integrated communications, there was a conversation that was had at work that was like, what the fuck is Twitch? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, all these people are talking about Twitch now. All of these, like, so GameSpot had a Twitch channel. Game Informer had a Twitch channel. And they were talking about our games on these streams. And we were like, what is happening? What are they doing? And they were like, Steph, you're young. Go figure it out. And I was like, what do you want me to do? And they were like, just
Classic.
Figure it out.
Resident young person, go figure it out.
And I was like, okay. And so I started watching Twitch streams. And shout out Hafu was the first streamer I ever watched. Yeah, because she was a badass who was Diamond League player. And I was like, what is what is this? This really cool chick is like very good at video games, and what is League of Legends? And so that's actually how I got started. A lot of people that I would talk to in her community were like, well, it's one thing being a viewer. It's a whole other ballgame being a streamer. So if you want to bring streaming to your company so they understand what streaming is, you should really try it yourself so you kind of understand what it goes into it. Because it is true. You have like these, you know, these old marketing suits who sit there and they're like, oh, it's a live stream. You know, what do you do? It's so easy. You plug a camera in and you talk to it. It's so much harder than that, right?
Yeah.
So
you talking to the microphone. Everyone knows that. You don't talk to the camera.
Yes, exactly.
It's ridiculous. Quiet old man.
And so I plugged my laptop into my television. I HDMI my laptop into my television, had both of them on my coffee table, and I was sitting there in my living room, turned my camera on, and I was like, come play League of Legends with me. I've never played it before. Let's figure it out together. And that's how I started my streaming career. And then it became a hobby, and it became a passion. And then all of a sudden my stream was doing pretty well. And I was working, get this, at one point I was working full time. So I'd get into the office around 8, leave around, 5 or 6. I'd eat dinner. I'd start my stream around 7:30, and I'd go till like 2, 3 in the morning, sleep for a couple hours, wake up at 7, commute the hour to work, and do it all over again. So I was working full time and streaming full time, trying to make it happen.
To be young. Oh.
I know, right? God, I'm imagining doing that now, and it just like makes me give me the shivers.
Maybe I ideologically think about this, but yeah, in college, operated on like 2 hours of sleep.
2 hours, dog, and you're just like, let's go.
No, you weren't fine. That's the thing.
That's
you
the thing.
thought
Was
you
I
were,
fine?
you could handle it. You 100% would have been better had you slept.
Maybe I just assumed that was my peak, but I could have been better with 8 hours.
And you're just like, oh, I have to do this, and that's all there is. There is no option to be rested and healthy. Like you have to just be hanging on by a thread.
It's also fun. You're like screaming, playing video games with your friends. Not like that wasn't the job, right? And I think that was a shift for me. Is I would go into work, and it was once a job that I truly, truly loved, and now it became how many minutes were I counting down until I could go on my stream.
Go and stream, yeah.
And again, my stream, I got my sub button April 2015, and I ended up quitting my job at Ubisoft. I waited until we launched Rainbow Six Siege because I was working on that campaign. I said, hey, team, just a heads up, when we launch this game, so when we get through like the crunch time and all that stuff, I'm probably gonna pull the shoot, man. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see if this works out. Because in my head, it was this. So Twitch was not where it is today, right? People weren't making millions of dollars on their live stream, but it was lucrative enough where I was like, hey, if I don't try this, I'm going to regret it later. And it wasn't really even about the money. Like it truly was. I was putting so much time into it and putting a lot of my other like life duties on hold because I was so interested in pursuing this that I said, if it doesn't work out, I have enough money in the bank right now that I could survive while I looked for another job if this just wasn't happening for me,
Calculated risk to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I have a degree. I have 7 years on my resume. I could definitely feasibly get done the job pretty easily if this fell through. And so I did it. And now it's a history, right? It's been
and you just relied on your ability to crush interviews as well. Really.
Oh my gosh.
Freaking absolutely nailed it. I do want to ask about the Ubisoft thing really quick because you started your stream almost to do research, it seems like, on what Twitch was. Did you have to it was kind of the Wild West back then, so I'm not sure you had to, but you have to disclose that you were part of EA or
on my personal stream? No.
Okay. It was,
because I
you were able
wasn't
to keep those things
reviewing
separate.
games. Yeah. I was playing whatever I wanted to play. And most likely it wasn't an EA game because when you work on a game, it's actually really sad. I kind of lost my passion for video games a little bit for a second there because when you work on a game, especially a game that you're really interested in and the ending right off the rip before you even play it, it just kind of, you lose that, you get a little jaded. You lose that wow factor. So it just... I stopped playing the games I worked on for sure because it just wasn't as fun for me. Because it was like a daily grind thing,
Yes.
Mhm.
To some extent, that can happen even in streaming.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
But it's like with logging.
Once you do something a ton of times, or you see, like it's like you
I
produce
think
it.
that once you become obligated to something and you don't have a choice in it, it becomes your job. Like that's why I think I have, as a streamer, I had a lot of opportunities to maybe become a bigger streamer. If I had stuck it out with some games, like Fortnite, for example, I was in the original like cast of characters when Fortnite first launched. I was on like the big E3, like, 8 million people watching this like tournament that we put on. Like I was in that and all this stuff. And I think if I had stuck it out, I probably, my like channel would be in a different place, but I was so burnt out on it. I had no desire. It became such a sweat fest, and it became like, there was a moment where I realized that a lot of the people who were playing the game were trying to make a career out of this, and it wasn't about having fun with your friends anymore. And for me, I think I'm just a little too old for that grind, right? I don't want to sit there and play a game that I'm not interested in anymore just for the numbers sake of it. So I stopped playing Fortnite, and I have done that with several other games throughout my gaming career, where I'm just like, you know what? I could probably stick with it and see more success on my channel in a sense, but I will be miserable, and I just don't want to do it.
I completely understand that. Yeah. I think a lot of Fortnite streamers face that to some extent. Like, I think a lot of us kind of rode that success up, and bigger streamers like Nick A30 or Ninja or Loser Fruit, or any of those people, like kind of push the ceiling a little higher for all of us to kind of succeed. And while that was great, it was like year 2, and I'm like, man.
Anytime you played a different game, right? It was like, Fortnite. Where's Fortnite, Paul? Fortnite. When are you gonna play Fortnite, Paul?
Oh my!
Cranking those 90s, Paul.
You know what I'm called in the baseball weird trolley stratosphere? I'm called Fortnite boy.
Really? Shut up.
For someone to call me boy too, I'm just like, dude, you're a kid with you're 15 and you have 5 Twitter accounts. Don't call me Fortnite boy. But it's like everyone's like, "Where's Ninja?" I'm like, I don't know. That was 3 years ago. It like back when you were 9, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's
and that's the other thing. So we are. I don't mean to put you in the same category as me, but you are. So we are older also for the streamerhood. I would say they all started 19, 20, and now they're like mid 20s, but we're 30, I don't really want to sit there and be screamed at by a 9-year-old called silly names, right? It's just not really my thing. I'm just too old for that. I just
not
don't
worth
have the patience
dealing with.
No.
Either. Like you're just like, I don't like it, and I don't like playing this game either enough for this.
Exactly.
Like all the things attached to it. At the end of the day, I want to have fun, and sometimes and we rode that way for a long time. So like we if that were our goal, then we accomplished it with the game,
Right.
and now it's like a lot of us have just been like. I know that Stroud is not a great example because of the mixer thing, and he got the bag that way, and then now he's back on Twitch. But last night he was like, "Hey guys, I'll see you tomorrow, or I won't. I don't know." Like that's and he's been around for a long time, so I'm noticing a path. People have been streaming for 6 years. Sometimes we're just like, "Hey, tomorrow morning I might not be here. You guys are the best." And I'll see you when
Shad's earned that privilege, right? And I will say it is a privilege. As someone who had to take a significant step back from my stream recently because of becoming a mom and having other responsibilities, it is, I won't say soul crushing, but it's very difficult to see the decline in my channel in ways. And I don't mean to sound ungrateful, because there are plenty of amazing community members who've really stuck through it with me. But it's different now, right? I don't have 12 to 16 hours to sink into my stream anymore to really like grow it in the way that I had previously. And so like naturally, obviously, we've seen a decline in numbers and subs and stuff like that. Sometimes I have to take a week or 2 off because Brendan's got stuff to do, and I have a family now. And so it's just different now, and it's hard. It is really hard. I have to remind myself. I have good days and bad days where I look at my numbers and I'm like, oh, how the mighty have fallen. And then I look at my numbers and I'm like, yeah, but I have the cutest fucking kid in the world, and I'm happy. So it's a hard balance, and streaming is one of those really difficult jobs because as someone who has experience on both sides of the fence, right? When you work a 9 to 5 and you have a boss and you get promotions and you get raises and you launch a game or whatever, there are these very small milestones along the way that give you this satisfaction, this like feeling of, hey, I did something good, right?
Yeah.
Streaming, it's all on you, right? You set your own bar and you set your own accomplishments, and sometimes you're your own worst enemy because you're just like, well, am I doing something good here? Am I not doing something good here? Am I failing? Am I succeeding? Like where do I set this, moment for myself where I'm like, hey, you're doing a good job, Steph. Like, congratulations.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
That like that is what content creation, just in general, whether it's YouTube, even if you're like you make your money on Twitter or you're Instagram influencer, like success, like you said, those milestones are literally the natural thing is to attach it to my followers are going up, my average viewers are going up, and therefore my income is going up. So like if you're not increasing those things, sometimes it feels like, okay, what milestones can I even hit?
Yeah.
And so you have to get like creative, and especially, when you've been around for a while or you're in the older age group, like the things that you're interested in change too. For example, Paul has done a couple things where you were cooking. He's like, I want to, maybe 5 years ago, that's something you wouldn't even thought about doing that on a stream because you're like, no one's going to watch that. But now you're like, I like it. And I want to try that. And this shakes it up enough to where I'm like, ooh, I can do something with this. There's all these I can branch off this for different types of content. And that is like executing that really well. Now that becomes like a new fun thing that there might be a milestone around. Like if this is successful, then that's something I'm excited about doing again. That's different than I want to do. Like we have to find ways to do that because the whole growing, like we rode the Fortnite wave for a while.
Yeah.
We rode it. That's probably not going to happen again.
Well, I think
it might not.
I think I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? There's really two types of streamers. There's the streamer that sticks to the game, right? And really just builds their community around the game. And obviously they are a factor of that, but the game is really the draw, right? Like, oh my gosh, I watch, Cloaks because of COD, or I watch whatever, and I really like Call of Duty. And if he plays New World, I probably won't be as interested in it. I'll stick around because I like the community and I've already established this like connection with the streamer, but really I wish he would still play COD, right? Or you have what we've kind of developed, which is, again, I think we've all consciously chose this path, especially after the Fortnite wave, was I'm going to be the draw, right? If you are the content creator who is variety and true variety, which is I play whatever I want when I want to, and the reason people stick around is because I'm funny or because I'm really attentive in chat or we do cool giveaways or whatever your shtick is, they stick around because of that and not because of the game per se, right? It doesn't really
exactly.
Oh, I love Paul and I love his a group of friends. I love their, banter together, and it doesn't matter what they play because they're always so funny, whatever they do. And that's the draw, right? I think personally, my, again, personal opinion, but I think that as a content creator is the gold. That's the money, right? Because then you just have to be yourself and your fans will support you, whatever endeavor you end up going. And that's, again, like I said earlier, I want to just shout out the people who really have stuck with me. I took 2 months off maternity leave. There's weeks where I don't even talk about it on Twitter. Like my baby's, going through a leap and he's teething and all this stuff. And I will just disappear for a couple days.
Yeah.
And my community's like, hey, Steph, we'll be here when you get back. And I'm like, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's so cool. And Brennan, he's my little pep talker, right? So he's always like, Steph, you built that, right? The person you should be celebrating is you because that's something that you created. And I'm like, you're right, man. Thanks.
I'm gonna go fire it up, okay?
Yes. and just a quick note on that before we move on. I think that is a good lesson on, because you defined, like we talked about success, or we talked about milestones at work, like, oh, I completed this project, or oh, I did this, and like that kind of gives you that little jolt to keep on going because you've met that goal. I think that you have to define that for yourself as a content creator. Some people are driven by numbers. Some people are driven by revenue. Some people are driven by whatever, or how many charity streams they can do in a month. You have to define it for yourself. I feel like mine is, am I able to maintain some level of like living, right? And then also just be happy with what I'm doing. Like, am I happy doing it? Am I happy with 50 people or 100 people? Am I happy with this game or that game? Because the moment I'm not, I'm not hitting my goals, that's not success. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like making a ton of money playing Fortnite would be considered success to some, and that's fine. And then other people are like, I don't like Fortnite. That doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
That's not success.
I think there's a good, I think the overarching, a good kind of lesson to pull is if you are really, really only worried about the things you have full control over, because at the end of the day, revenue and ad revenue and like getting sponsorships, there is an element of another entity giving you that. So like you don't have full control over it, no matter how hard you try. You have some, but not full. But what you do have control over is what you decide to do every day and how you decide to make decisions that make you happy. So if you're always trying to pursue that, and it's just the process of having the fun and enjoying, like people go, hey, why don't you play, Apex by yourself? Right. I'm like, because all I want to do is be in Discord with people and hang out with them, because I haven't talked to anybody in a while either because of the season. But I realized like Fortnite was no longer fun when I was solo running around, but it was so fun when I was in the 4-man squad bantering. It was night and day. So it's like
way more fun.
You learn that too. And a lot of people, I see a lot of like, around New Year's, we're going to see a lot of the younger creators. But I'm trying to get to this many followers and this and this and this, which those goals are not, there's no value attached to them. It's just, if everything has an element of something you can't control, it's very hard to hit them all. Yeah. So if you got to give yourself as many, like, here's something I have full control over, or as much control as I possibly can have here. And I'm going to do my best to control that and do the best job I can at that thing. And then that becomes what your success is. What Paul said is he's just he wants to make good decisions. And he wants to, like, if I'm not going to stream today because I'm going to go spend time with my family, and that's more important to me, I'm going to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like that. And before, it probably wasn't that easy, was it, Paul?
No.
No.
So I can imagine
now that we're
10 times as difficult as a baby.
Old age.
We make better decisions. So if we have advice to give, I think that's a great piece.
Very true. Well, I did say I kind of wanted to hit another side of this, Steph, or another aspect of your Twitch career. So you are a Twitch ambassador, as am I. No big deal.
I'm not.
We're just a different breed.
Trevor
just
isn't.
Built different is really all.
How's your check mark looking? Is it a little just purple?
Just normal?
Just normal purple?
It's the normal purple one.
Tough gradient over here. We call it balayage on the inside. Not a big deal. Anyway, so I'm also an ambassador, and I feel like I'm trying to navigate my level of responsibility in this role because it's fairly new for me. Now that you've been one for a little while, what are your thoughts on that role of ambassador and like the purpose it serves? What do you think it is, and what's its purpose? Because it's tough. They sent me an email and I was like, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question. I think,
Do you feel like more responsibility?
Personally, not really.
Okay.
I feel like they chose us for a reason, right? And I don't think I need to change my content to be different, right? Like they already know what I am and what I'm like, right? And I will say, as someone who does a lot of sponsored stuff and sponsored interviews, and I do a lot of work with Twitch, I do have a button that I can push where I put a professional filter on things, right? I can not be so crass or curse or whatever. So there is definitely that side of like, and again, that's from my PR background. Like I know when to turn it on for sure. But I'm not sitting there on front page representing Twitch every day that I'm streaming. So for me, it's like, hey, am I kind to the members in my community? Am I welcoming to all, credences? And if someone asks me a question about Twitch, do I have an answer for them in a way like, how do I start streaming or what do I do, stuff like that. If I can check all those boxes, I think I'm doing my part, right? And then the stuff that is Twitch ambassador centric, where they actually say, hey, we're doing this thing where you have to put the shirt on and you are waving the flag, like that's when I'll turn whatever I need to turn on and like represent something. But otherwise I'm just representing me, and Twitch has chosen me to be a part of that. So I just try and stay true to like my brand and content in that role, right?
So that's okay. So that's interesting because do you feel like recently you were kind of a part of a live stream with Dr. Fauci? Yeah, that was like amazing,
huge.
Do you feel like you were waving the flag, putting the shirt on for that interview, or do you feel like you were kind of able, or were you just like nervous? I don't like, do you feel like you had to be a certain Twitch ambassador for that? Like you represented Twitch?
You
Or did you
know,
represent you like a live stream? Like I'm a streamer.
like looking back on it now, I definitely think I was representing Twitch for sure because, you know, they were very particular about who they chose for that live stream. But at the time, I was not thinking. When I got the email and I said yes, and I saw it on the dotted line, I was like, Mom, I'm talking to the White House. Like, it was me being very excited. And here's the thing, dude. Like, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've done tons and tons of interviews, tons of like podcast shows and you know, sponsorship deals and hosting and all of that stuff. I have never in my life been so nervous than for that specific one. I don't know what, it's just like the weight that it carried. I'm talking to the US Surgeon General and like the president's medical advisor about such a top of mind topic that's like on everyone's like mind and all the questions, and like it just felt like a lot of responsibility. And so, yeah, I was more worried that I was going to fuck up. I was more scared that I was going to like say something wrong or mispronounce a name or ask a stupid question or just like flub it up, you know? And
you didn't just hit him with so why do you want everyone to be a sheep? Just like hit him with that question out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like,
that would have been, watching him just be like, it would have been great and also awful. So I'm glad you did.
This is true.
Well, I mean, I think they chose their people for a reason, right? Like, again, I am very on brand safe when I do sponsorship stuff like that, because, and this is so funny that you ask if I feel like I have a responsibility, because I do feel like there is a weird line when you get hired to do something as an influencer, where do you stay true to you as a person and you as an influencer, in the sense like, I curse a lot. By me not cursing, am I not staying true to my brand and me?
Yeah.
By like putting on the tie and the glasses and like being a little more like clean cut and kempt, like is that you know, me kind of lying, I guess, because I am pretty crass, right?
It feels dishonest in a way,
a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so it's for the White House thing. It wasn't. It was like, you know, when you, I don't know. It felt like I felt like I had to be proper, you know. But I wanted to like represent myself too. I didn't want to look dumb, you know. I didn't want to be like, what do you mean,
there's a time and
COVID,
place.
you know? So yeah,
we're talking about something serious too.
It was serious, and like,
you know,
the
when
whole,
we get serious, we probably don't swear as much.
True.
Generally.
But it did feel, I felt like I was like in school. Like it felt like a college presentation. Like I felt like I was like presenting to a group of people my like, you know, my thesis versus me being like FemSteph, Stephanie, the content creator, having a conversation with someone, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't hit Fauci with poggers or anything.
No,
like, he wasn't.
I mean,
Pogger. And he's like, and you're like, oh wait, I forgot.
Weird, champ. You want what? I mean, I probably could have, but it didn't feel like the right time. So
yeah,
but it was cool. Man. I mean, I got so many text messages from like my extended family, like people I haven't talked to in years, that were like, oh my God, I went to high school with her and she's talking to like, you know, the White House. That's really cool. And I was like, that's awesome.
That is cool. That's like a career defining moment for sure.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's the reason I took it. There was a moment where I was like, do I want to do this? And then I was like, yeah, absolutely. 100%. I should do this, because, you know, how many people get to talk to the, you know,
the
White House?
Like the weight of it almost, clearly it did how big it was outweighed any uncomfortability you would have, or like nervousness.
Absolutely.
It's like, you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Was he cool?
Really cool. It was, they were, I mean,
they were a huge nerd.
They were really chill. I thought they were going to be like scary, intimidating people to talk to. They were super cool. Just dudes. Yeah. Smart.
I see Fauci,
super
like,
smart dudes.
Trying to figure out where the camera is and like not knowing, and like.
Well, the funny part is he does like an ass load of interviews every single day. So he didn't do anything until it was go time, and then he just sat down. Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He had his assistant did all of like the tech check and mic check and all that stuff. And they were like, and here he is.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. So
That's how TV works most of the time too, guys. Just so you know.
true.
No one's pushing the button. That's
Very
awesome. Ambassador, it's just very interesting to me too, especially how Twitch is like more and more and more having opportunities to do things like that. And I love that. And now that I've been able to meet and talk to a lot of different people who are ambassadors, just they're picking the right people. I feel like, and you guys are doing a great job of representing the brand. But I love that. Like official channels that are usually other places are being given opportunities on Twitch, and Twitch is, I feel like, doing a fairly good job of giving the right people those opportunities to represent them, and it's reaching a group of people that, frankly, like if you go talk on just TV, like if he was just talking on TV like normally, then that's going to go to Twitter, and we know what filter that's going to go through. So it's great that they're doing that. I'm glad that we're, we can have a representation kind of in that message too. So great job. That's awesome. A lot of awesome stuff's happened to you recently.
Yeah.
So before we go though, I want to make sure that everyone can find you, because at the end of the day, we would love for everyone to come say hello in the chat. But you are FemSteph pretty much everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Obscure name. I have a TikTok channel, but I don't post videos. Okay. I should, but I don't.
I feel that.
Everyone's in that realm right now. And
just so you guys know, because I feel like I get this question a lot. When I worked at EA, the first game I ever launched was Mass Effect, and FemSteph is the endearing nickname for, because it's one of the first video games where you could truly play an RPG all the way through and choose if you wanted to be the male or female protagonist. Same character, but you could choose how you wanted to play the game. And so FemSteph was, fondly nicknamed that. And so I was like, Shep kind of sounds like Steph. And so FemSteph became a thing. But the game is so old now that like all these little kids are like, why are you called that? Are you a feminist? And I'm like, what is this?
You're like, first of all, yes. Second of all,
why is this a negative? But
get out of my stream.
And so I feel like I have to do a lot of explaining. But the nice thing is, it's not like I don't have to compete with a lot of people for, my name. So it's readily available on all platforms. So you can find me as FemSteph across the board on all social media.
Awesome. Outstanding. And you worked on the game. I mean, that's got to have, that's more significance than a lot of other ones. We got people that made up their name off of their credit card information. They couldn't think of anything, so they just put, what was it?
Phone number in their name.
Backwards.
Yeah.
It's Visa backwards. And it's Visa backwards, and then her initials right after it. Sivers. That's Visa backwards is what she chose, which is so funny. But it's stuck, and it's awesome.
There you go.
It's available.
They all come from different places. Trevor May came from my mom. So that's where I got that.
Tough.
Shout out.
All right, but do you have anything coming up? You got any events, merch, a book, a tour? Are you like launching an album? Anything
photo shoot?
Am I allowed to talk about my podcast?
100%.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I have a podcast, guys. My friend Haley, Nick, and I, we just talk about life with each other and then current events.
What's it called? Where can we find it?
It's called Steph and Haley Show. We stream Mondays on Twitch, both our channels, twitch.tv/FemSteph or twitch.tv/Haley Nick. We're gunning for 10 a.m. on Mondays now.
10 a.m. Mondays. That's Pacific time.
Yeah.
Yes.
West Coast.
Pacific time. We're two moms who stream on Twitch, who have very loud voices, and we talk about shit we like. So that's it. That's the gist.
Hell yeah. That's the gist.
Awesome. And
that's the About Me page.
Right now, what's your like most consistent streaming times?
In the morning. So I usually start by 9-10 a.m. Pacific and go as long as I can in the mornings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So pop in, FemSteph, check out the stream. Say you came from the pod. Make us look good, please.
Of course.
Please, desperately. And then check out our pod. We'll get stuff. It is. What is that? Pod buddies?
Pod buddies.
Pod buddies.
Definitely hope that doesn't stick. All right, good. FemSteph, thank you so much for being on the pod. You are amazing and super fun to talk to. We will definitely direct everyone over to the podcast with you and Haley, Nick.
Thank you.
Fantastic. To our listeners and our viewers, this has been the May Contain Action podcast. So you can listen on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts for the full episodes and watch highlights from our show on YouTube. We will see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.